All right, gods and goddesses in training, welcome back to the channel. It's Uncle Makara, Ryan G over here. We are trekking now through the woods and looping around Lake Rotopumanu. That's a, a very interesting tongue twister. And right now we're going to be speaking to you guys about what exactly is a spiritual portal. You might hear people talking about portals and this and that in the spiritual communities, but you have no fucking idea what they mean. In this video, you're going to figure it out. So the number one thing to understand about spiritual portals is that they are almost a checkpoint on your spiritual mission. So just like if you played a video game like Crash Bandicoot or something like that, you get to a certain point and then you would unlock some achievement or some checkpoint. And a portal for you is a spiritual checkpoint on your spiritual journey so that you transform your character. You don't become the same person that you always were. You are now living with a totally different lens of looking at the world.
Right.
Ryan G, how do you see portals and how can you explain it to the audience?
How do I see portals? How? Imagine you have a moment in time, which is the present. You can have a what-if scenario by the choices you make.
Right.
If you decide to be good, be good. If you decide to be, evil and dark and whatever, be dark. If you decide to choose the shadow side, which is the complementary side of the light, do that. So ultimately, the use of portals has to be related to what you want. And deciding it's a door that you will open and thus go through. Kind of like, alien gateways, I suppose.
Yeah.
What we reading?
So right here it says this is a checkpoint right here. So
Yeah,
technically it's a portal. And it says there's a 5-minute beach, 10-minute beach. Let's do the 5-minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be this way.
Hi.
Hey guys. Hey.
That is
Have you not been here before?
No.
No.
What do you want to know? We've been here a few times.
We want to get to the lake.
Yeah.
A lovely old man and woman gave us directions to go this way. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the 10-minute beach. And yeah, coming back to the topic of portals, it's interesting, Ryan G, that you said you can either be light, you can either be dark, you can either be shadow, and you got to make a choice, right? We can find ourselves on the middle path because we are also gray mages, and that way we choose the sweet spot between those two polarities. But our main strengths lie in something particular. For me, it's the light. For Orion, it's the shadow. And we came here and got a lot more insights on what exactly is the difference between darkness and shadow.
Yes.
Do you want to speak a little bit on that, Ryan?
Sure. Darkness I see as pretty much anti-life, whereas shadow is simply the complementary part of light. You cannot have shadow without light, and
Yeah.
there's no light without a shadow. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
And if it doesn't have a shadow, it has to be a false light being. And the thing that I've learned so far, at least during this trip, is that the darkness tends to hide amongst the shadows
Oh yeah.
and confuse people that prefer the depths of their own psyche.
Yeah.
And what else can you say about it? It would take the light to shine upon both the shadow and the darkness to be able to differentiate both. And if shadow and light can work together in harmony,
Yeah.
we can use the element of harmony to connect back to what is in essence God, source, whatever you want to name it, in order to not just battle whatever the darkness is, also known as anti-life.
Yeah. So portals help you to birth yourself anew, because if you think about the greatest portal of all time was when we were in our mother's womb.
Correct.
So that's basically the idea is we are in the womb of the Earth Mother right now, and we're being birthed through these different levels. And just like we have a chronological age from birth to death, we also have a metaphysical age where we can feel younger even though we're growing older. So
Correct.
that's where this, scientists come in and try to make some kind of formula to be immortal or like look up things about longevity. But really it's about returning back to wholeness again, because once you change the way that you see yourself in the astral plane, that really starts to change your physical body too. So at least that's what I've experienced from my own journey. So yeah, what do you think about that, Ryan, as the womb concept?
Oh, I was thinking about that. And then I remembered with a session with Brad how he pulled out an astral parasite from my
Yeah.
organs that
Yeah.
happened to be there when I was born, and for some reason or another, if I had not signed a certain contract, I would have been born still. So for whatever it's worth, that dark being did keep me alive. However, there was a deep compromise at some point while being born to this initial portal, this womb, whatever. And that has caused a lot of sorrow in my life. And after having this being removed, it also made me realize that I don't quite understand yet what my baseline is. What it even means to actually connect back to source.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm coming to terms with it has taken almost my whole life so far to get rid of beings that are not me.
Yeah.
So seeing how today is the 22nd day,
Yeah. Feminine
I
healer.
choose to remove things that are not of me. I'm showing them the door, basically. Hit the road, Jack.
And don't you come back no
No
more,
more.
no more, no more, no more.
And
Yeah.
if they try, I'll send them to the light. Which in essence mean either they're destroyed and possibly turned into life force.
That's interesting. You can say return to sender, but also return to source.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Fuck it. That's also a possibility I haven't considered.
Yeah, and also if you have overwhelming emotions, you can always send it to nature because nature recycles. So it has a very organic way of recycling things. So if you have any kind of stress, anxiety, tension, anything like this, you just send it either through your feet or through your hands into the earth, and they will deal with the aftermath on your behalf. And they're very happy to.
Yeah.
And it's just, you have to be grateful for that. You can't use that as a tool to try to cheat code your way. You have to actually be connected. And I think connection is such a big word that we're still coming to terms with.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the closest understanding I had when I spoke to Brad was it's alignment. It's when you feel everything just clicks for you. It
Yes.
seems organic, natural, not artificial. And so, coming back to the concept of portals, I want you to look in your life where they have been highlight peak experiences or moments in your life where you had to rethink everything, change everything. Because sometimes we come on this path and then we learn, my goodness, like what I knew was a complete lie. And then you have to redraft your entire belief system to match a higher rendition.
Correct. To summarize what I believe Sumit is saying is, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to do the work and connect with, and well, in this case, nature? Are you willing to connect with the people who pisses you the fuck off? Are you willing to do the inner work that is needed to evolve past whatever you need to evolve past? Are you willing to sit with whatever emotion that you're feeling and allow it to do whatever it needs to do? And are you willing to look and observe your own ego and ask the following question. Am I being facilitated or am I being dictated?
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah. And speaking on the fact that if you walk through too many portals that aren't meant for you or not aligned to you, you might find yourself in a very compromised situation, let's say. So certain portals, of course, as an alchemist, you can probably transmute any dark experience, negative experience. But you want to remain blissful, you want to remain truthful and pure. So that's the best way to go about it. We were talking in the car, energy, about the idea of harmony and how that's a way for us to reconnect to source.
Right. So, of course, we spoke about a few taboo topics. Only adepts get to know about this.
Yeah.
And how to get rid of these things and what patterns can you recognize.
Yeah.
The team seems to come up around connecting and harmonizing consistently and frequently over whatever period of time with source, with God, with that.
Yeah.
And how we're going to do that, that's what we're trying to figure out. How we're going to automate that is how we're going to try to figure it out. What approaches and tactics and strategies we need to come up with, not just to make a product or a service, but something that, more than the adepts can profit from or gain from.
Yeah.
I don't just want to have some magic tricks or whatever, some yoga poses. No. I want to understand what the true root cause of it all is and then handle business.
By the way, guys, we have a 5-day Savage Shaman challenge. So if you're interested in that, definitely let us know. 5 days, you will transform all 5 bodies: physical, mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual. Coming back to the topic, I think it's really important for us to understand that if you're walking through the right positive portals for your own life, you're going to get initiated. So there will be challenges along the way.
Naturally.
And so are you going to rise up to the challenge and meet it with your connectivity, with your presence? Or are you going to try to find shortcuts, figure out, different, cheat codes in the video game of life? And there's nothing wrong with using a cheat code. It's in the intention with how you're using a cheat code. So is it still coming from source, right?
Right.
And sometimes the path towards reconnecting with source is a difficult one, because a lot of people understand when they break past their limits, they're in this kind of victim complex or this savior mode, like somebody outside of me, please save me. And that's when you're most vulnerable. And this is where different, deities can come in or entities can come in to try to convince you, sign this contract, do this thing, But you have to remain pure in those moments. That's what is going to truly help you make this journey long lasting.
Correct. And, seeing how we're pretty much almost at the beach.
Yeah.
Don't forget to enjoy the journey.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget to enjoy the journey. This path requires, whatever spiritual path, I guess, requires a lot of patience.
Absolutely.
But patience can also be enjoyed.
Patience is a virtue because it's a survival value. If you have patience, you can endure. But don't endure everything, obviously. Stand up for yourself. But understand you will need to slow time down to understand how connected you actually are to time. Because time is a construct that keeps us moving in this journey. But it's important for you to understand this portal is made for me. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you. And stay legendary. Upward spiral. Let's go.